Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Wednesday, November 26th. It is 6:25 right now. We got market opening up in about 5 minutes. A lot of entries today. So we got a long list of entries today. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 entries for today. Listed on the algo list. That's a lot. It's a lot compared to what we're used to. Um, So I'll give it a few moments for people to make their way in. One other thing that I started to look at was the higher TP stop loss, right? Because we talked about how like the slippage is a problem, and the main way around that is really just to have wider TP stop loss. I went around and I looked at the 50 to 100, and there's actually some pretty good setups right here. So these are the setups that I was able to find with the 50 to 100. So what I'm going to be looking at are the ones that align with the 40/20. So like for example, 732, they both hit right there. 743, and a couple of these in between. So I'll be looking to see, when those come up. Those are probably gonna be the ones that are gonna be most ideal for me specifically. Looking over here, I marked these up actually from yesterday, and they actually look pretty good. Looking at these 50 to 100, they pretty much all hit target yesterday with like little to no drawdown at all, which is pretty incredible, right? To see this here kind of this one over here at 732, it did have some drawdown, of course, but eventually did push up and hit. Let's see. Yeah, this one had some drawdown at 732, but everything else is pretty much spot on for the most part. So we'll see. But yeah, these are all the 50 stop loss, 100 point TPs that came up yesterday using the same ones that I listed. I basically just looked at the screener over here. I know these numbers aren't exactly correct, but I just went off that list there to see. Just give me a better understanding. I think moving forward, I'll probably look at the actual numbers for the 50, 100 because it's helpful to see when they line up with the 40/20s. So, all right, guys, good morning, everybody. Let's see who's here so far. Morning, Masij, morning, Mendez, morning, CJ, morning, Maria. Morning, guys. Today is Wednesday, November 26th, day before Thanksgiving. Volatility might be a little slow today, but we'll still play through and see if anything here comes up. So, guys, just another reminder to this is connection lost. Of course, connection lost. This is the last day before the holiday. I'm not going to be trading tomorrow. Well, nobody's going to be trading tomorrow because market's closed. And I'm probably not going to be trading on Friday because, I mean, it's Black Friday. Usually it's pretty dead still. So we're getting this big, huge red candle right here, right prior to open. There's no entry set up for 629. So if you guys are looking to take the breakout, by default, the breakout is with momentum. So if you guys do want to take it, it's going to be a sell here. It's looking like. I mean, obviously, I'm not taking that trade, but if you guys want to take it, it is going to be a sell entry for breakout on open. The first target entry is going to be right here at 632, and we'll be looking to see how this one comes up. Morning, Lila. Yeah, no, definitely, Lila. Definitely very, very grateful and thankful for all of you guys here too. So, all right, guys, market's gonna open shortly in about 20 seconds. If you guys are looking to take the breakout on open, there's no list here. There's no trade on the list here for 629. But if you do want to take it, it's with momentum by default. Because we have a sell momentum here, it's going to be a sell entry. I'm not taking it, but if you guys do want to take it, I'll be following it for you guys here, of course. All right, so the breakout's running right now. Looks like it already maybe have hit already. So this is the opening candle. I mean, depending on what you guys are going for here, if you guys are going for the 40/20, it's currently running. If you're going for the 50/50, it's currently still running. If you're going for the 40/80, it's still currently running. I'm not in this position here, but just wanted to mark it up for you guys there if you guys are looking to take it, of course. I never take the breakout on open anymore because of this very reason, right? A lot of crazy chop right there. Let's take a look at the overall trend right now. So the overall trend is currently looks bullish for the most part. The 1 minute's bullish, prices above the pivots, trend meters green, pivots are angling up. Same with the 5 minute, same with the 15, same with the 30 minute, same with the 1 hour, and same with the 4 hour here. So it's pretty much bullish across the board. Um, so it's really tough to take a trade against the trend like that. I mean, obviously, I'm not taking the breakout on open. First entry right here is going to be at 632. So first entry at 632 is going to be in about a minute. In order for this entry to come up, we need to have a buy signal come up on this specific candle. As you guys can see, this has been the problem throughout, like pretty much all throughout November, right? You guys see this crazy chop here on open. What I've started to realize and what we've started to notice is like, it's not a good time to trade the first 10 minutes of market open. Basically from 6:30 to 6:40, you get a lot of this crazy chop of like back and forth movement, right? Huge wick right here, huge wick right there. It's not a good time to be trading. Obviously, if you guys want to trade this type of market, you're more than welcome to, but you're kind of taking a big gamble because if your stop loss is 20 points, super tight, you're going to get stopped at a lot of positions just because of the market chop. Yeah, not because the trade or the position's not working well, but because of the market chop, of course. Because what I see happen a lot is you get a lot of choppiness back and forth, and then eventually it hits your target, but it could initially hit your stop loss before it hits your target. Hey Ben, morning. Masij said, I think if we find an ATR multiplier from the deep back test with a high win rate, we can trade it during the first 10 minutes. Yeah, I agree with you, Masij. Maybe if we do so the multipliers that I'm familiar with are like 1.5 or 2. But usually those are like the ones that work well. Um, Not just in a choppy market, but just in general. Whenever I try to use the ATR, I never go directly off the ATR. I usually go like 1.5 to 2 for the most part. Yeah, exactly. We need to have a specific number. And I like to have a fixed number because I used fixed contract sizes. So we'll try to figure that out. Again, guys, look at all these big wicks on both ends, right? Big wick on top, big wick on bottom. This is just a clear confirmation that this is not necessarily a directional market, right? Price is just chopping up back and forth. So again, if you guys want to take entries in this type of market, feel free, but I don't recommend it at all. I mean, for the obvious reason, right? There's just no reason here to take these trades that are unnecessary. I mean, you can take these trades if you want, but you're going to get chopped up, whether you like it or not. So I'm just going to draw some structure right here. Right. You don't want to get chopped up in this market, especially the day before Thanksgiving, right? You're not trying to get cooked today. All right, so there's no entry there at 632. Next one is at 647. Or I'll just put 702 up here because that's the closest one that's an actual target entry. All right, so let me get my list going for today. Today's algo entries. So 632, no entry because there's no buy signal. This is what we've been running to like pretty much it's been like this almost every day. There's been like no entries available. And this is really hard for a lot of people, right? It's hard for a lot of people to stay consistent and just not take trades when they're not there. Um, so again, let's go back to 632. This was with momentum. It had a weighted average of 63%. Overall of 60. Buys had a 66 and sells had a 54. So it won 2 out of the 4 previous entries. We were looking for a buy direction. Looking over here at 632, there was no buy signal. So unfortunately, no entry there for 632, of course. It looks like if we did have a buy signal, it probably would have played out pretty nice, if it would have pushed up from here. But yeah, I mean, there just wasn't any entry there, of course. So no entry at 632. 647 is the next one here. This is again is going to be with momentum. It has a weighted average of 60%, overall 50, buy percentage of 30, sell percentage of 70. History shows that it won 1 out of the previous 4 entries, so you're going to be looking for a sell here. In order for you to have this entry at 647, you need to have a sell signal come up. So we'll see, what we got. Nice. So Masij got into NVIDIA. up 2% for the day. And then we have that 640 entry right here for 150. So I'll be looking for that. What I'm trying to look at over here, or what I'm trying to get at, is I'm trying to follow when these 150 to 40/20 entries line up. So we have one right here at 640. That's gonna be the first one. Has about a 64%, 64.70. For these bigger entries over here for the 50 to 100, I'm only going with the overall because it's such a big move that we don't really care about the choppiness, right? We just care about the entire move. A 100-point move is pretty big. So we had a question in the chat from Constantine who was asking, does it matter which direction that we're looking at? From what I've seen, no. You just want to go with momentum because you can see over here, like for example, see how this momentum comes up? It usually pushes up for a while, right? Enough for it to reach 100 points, of course. So the specific direction doesn't matter as much because as long as you're going with momentum, you're kind of riding it. Your stop is pretty far out, it's 50 points, your target's 100 points. So it's kind of like one of those trades that you take and you just hold on to for a while. So we'll be looking for it. Yeah, so what I might do is I might just start adding these 50 to 100 trades on the list. Like we did prior. I used to add them to the list before, but I just took them off because we just didn't really take them. Now it's actually a good time to take them. The good thing that I like here though is that the ATR is not super high, right? We were kind of getting we were kind of getting destroyed with the ATR before because it was so high. It's still pretty high, it's 30, but it's not close to like 50 like it was yesterday or the days before that. Like I said, the market tends to slow down as we get closer to the holidays. For today, there was a couple high impact news events, jobless claims, etc. They're all positive. So this was at 5:30 this morning. We got Chicago PMI at 645, medium impact, forecast to be positive as well. So looking at that at 5:30, there actually wasn't much movement at 5:30, right? 5:30, which was right here. There's actually no reaction, little to no reaction. All right, so we're getting closer to the 640. The 640 is going to be the 50 to 100. I'm really not looking for anything until closer to down here. Maybe the 732 or the 743. The 717 is okay too, but I don't like going against momentum as much. I'll be looking at it. I mean, if it looks like it's going to turn, I'll maybe take it, but for the most part, I'm aiming for like these two down here because they line up with the 50 to 100. Let's see how far this is pushed up so far. So you guys can see it's a stark difference to yesterday, right? This is only a 160-point push to the upside. This is normal. So this is normal for markets to push like this, not like yesterday where it pushed up 300 points, right? If you guys remember yesterday's market, that thing pushed up 300 points. Like you can't even cover it on the screen. It pushed up 300 points and then it dropped 500 points. If you guys remember yesterday's market, right? That's what we dealt with yesterday. You can see it's a big difference. So this is how much it moved yesterday on open. I can't even get it on the screen. It moved up 300 points and it dropped 500. Today, it's only moving up 660 points. This is actually good. So I like that the market's moving pretty normal now. Well, not pretty normal, but normal for the most part, because the volatility here isn't as extreme as it's been for the past couple of days. Given that today is the day before Thanksgiving, maybe the market has just slowed down for today and maybe for the rest of the week. But I mean, obviously, it's better to read this type of market than it is to read the crazy volatile one. So again, guys, we have the 50 to 100 move coming up right here at 640. This is the 640 candle. So this is going to be with momentum. If you guys are looking to take this, it's going to be a buy position. I'm not taking it because it's not one of my target entries, of course. I'm still sticking to the 40/20. I'm just taking the ones that align with the 150. So if you guys want to take this trade here, I mean, feel free. I will follow it and we'll see where it ends up going from there. Hey, Sam. Morning. All right, so we got this right here. This is going to be a longer entry though, so let me show you the trades from yesterday. Sometimes they take longer than others, right? They take about, I mean, not that much longer, but a couple of minutes compared to hitting right away. So if you look at the entries from yesterday, there's like maybe one loss, but everything else hit for that 50 to 100. All right. All right, so we'll follow right here. This is the 50 to 100. Um, I'm just going to leave it there. It's going to be a longer trade. So this is probably going to take a while for it to push up. But we just want to see how this here ends up pushing through. This is the reason why I typically don't like taking the 50 to 100 because see how far of a move it is? It takes a while. It's going to take a couple minutes, if not, 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, etc. Yeah, Masij said not taking this 50 to 100 is a bit too overextended for me. Could hit just too risky. Yeah, I agree. This would have been better during the very volatile markets, right? So like yesterday and the days before that, this here would have made more sense to take because, the market was moving like 100 points per minute, um, or per every couple of minutes. But yeah, today the market's not as volatile. So it's pushing up. It's looking pretty good so far. Next entry, which is going to follow it, is going to be the 647. We just marked it up here just so that we have this for a reference, of course. Um, I don't think I'm going to take these 50 to 100 trades unless like the market stays super, super volatile. Like if the ATR stays above 50 or something like that, like on a consistent basis, then okay, I'll switch over to the 50 to 100. But right now, you can see the ATR is pretty low. Like I do think this is going to hit, but it's going to take a while for it to hit. That's why I'm just going to leave it there. I'll leave it there and let it run. And then I'll try to hop in with like other entries that align with it. The main one that's going to align with it is going to be the 732. So, I mean, it's got some time until it reaches that point. Yeah, Masich said we need 40 plus ATI. I agree. I agree. It's just too long of a hold, right? You'd have to be holding on to this position for a while. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, it's something that you can kind of just hold and just let play through. But yeah, I don't necessarily want to hold it for that long. All right, so the next entry here is going to come up shortly, which is at 647. Yeah, Masich said momentum is already dying out. I think it will hit, may go into drawdown for a bit, then shoot up. Yeah, I agree. Looks like it might pull back for a bit, but then it'll end up going right up. Or this might just be a staircase type move, right? So let's look at the entries from yesterday. So look at this one right here at 654, right? This is a perfect example right here. See how this staircased on its way up? Took a while for it to hit, but eventually it pushed up, pushed up, pushed up, pushed up, and blasted right through the TP. So it might be similar to this type of move right here, where it takes a while for it to push up, but eventually it just blasts right through it. It's like it took like I think 10 minutes, let's see, or less, about 6 minutes for this one to hit. So this one was at 654 yesterday or 653. One of those. Trade's running. Again, the next target entry is going to be here at 702, so we got some time. The problem with the 702 is that it's going to be for a sell, so it's not exactly going to be in the direction of this bigger entry. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the chat. 645 right now. We got this first, or not this first, well, maybe this first. There's no entry for 632. This might be the first 40-20 entry right here. So like I said, it's going to chop up a little bit, but this trade may align with, actually, it's not going to align. I keep forgetting it's a sell right here. So these two trades are probably not going to align with it unless it pulls back just a little bit, right? So we got the 647. The reason why I don't think these will align is because these are going to fade this current position right here. The stop loss is 50 points. So in order for it to really switch the other way, we would need this to push up a little bit higher and then, pull back and then come right back up. Something like that. All right, we're getting closer to this 647 entry. It's not looking like there's going to be anything there. In order for it to be an entry, the sell signal has to close. I'll move this a little tighter so we can kind of look at both entries at the same time. So looks like this 647, if this closes with a sell signal, this will come up. But if it doesn't, then there's going to be no entry for 647. And it's not looking like it's going to be an entry. The volatility here is pretty low. So it looks like there's going to be an entry right here for 647. It's not a good entry though. If you look at the statistics over here, as a 60% weighted, 50% overall, 30% buy, 70% sell. Has a history of only winning one of the previous four entries. So if you guys want to take this trade here at 647, it is going to be a sell entry. I mean, this thing would probably pull into drawdown a little bit. So this might do exactly what we just talked about earlier, right? So this here is, it could fade the position for a little bit, hit its target, and then come right back up. Basically like a head and shoulders, right? Shoulder, head, shoulder, reversal. So we'll see. I mean, the 647 is going to come up right now. It's going against the big position here, which is the 50 to 100. Like we talked about earlier, the 50 to 100 is just a really big, it's a really big move in comparison to what we've been experiencing lately. So here's the entry right now. It's currently running. So this is what you typically don't want to see. You don't want to see two trades running opposite of each other, right? Because when they're running opposite of each other like this, it becomes a problem because you have conflicting analysis. Ideally, I'd go with the bigger one, of course. And the trend here is bullish, so the sells here just don't really look very great. The only thing that I can kind of say here is that the momentum is dying out, so this could easily pull back a bit before coming right back up. I mean, it could be a possibility. The problem here, though, is that it's right at the pivots. So what might happen here is it might just keep bouncing off the pivots until it shoots up higher and higher. Either way, it's not a target entry. 647 was not a target entry to begin with. So not one that I would personally take. We're still documenting it though. Yeah, Masih said 50 stop loss is very generous. Momentum is on our side. This 640 is going to hit. Yeah. So I do think this one here eventually is going to hit. The reason why I think this trade over here is good as well is because the trend, right? We just talked about that. So the trend here is very bullish. I do think it's overextended, so it might pull back a little bit. Like these both might hit. Like this over here might just kind of be in limbo for a little bit. This will come down, hit target, swing right back up, and then push back up higher. Like a perfect head and shoulders, basically, right? Shoulder, head, shoulder, continuation to the upside. The next entry, which is going to be a target entry, is going to be over here at 702. So it's got some time until it reaches that point. But you guys can see, look at the market. It's like literally dead with regard to direction. So I'll just put some structure here. This would be pretty incredible if they all hit. So if we see this, if this pattern plays through and it does exactly what I just mentioned, I think that'd be pretty incredible, right? To see this happen like this because this shows that the algo is very, very spot on with identifying these momentum pushes. It could happen. I mean, I'm not going to be super shocked, but I'm going to think I think it's pretty impressive if it does identify that because it does identify the small pullback here. That's which is currently happening. The only thing here is that what I think is going to be most impressive is if it doesn't hit stop loss for the 100-point move, right? I think if it turns exactly at the target here, I think that's going to be pretty impressive with like how exact it is with regard to momentum push. So it looks like it's pushing down right there. Again, this is the entry at 647. It's currently running. It's going to hit target. I can already tell. There was like little to no drawdown right there. So this is a win plus 2R. Next one's at 702. There we go. Full TP on that one. Yeah, so see right here, the 100-point move. This is why I don't like going for those bigger moves. It's probably going to bounce off this one right here. Pivot 3. Yeah, so that 100-point move didn't work out as well, which we weren't really expecting because of the low volatility. But the good thing is that the 40-20 moves here are working out how they're supposed to, which is what we want, right? We want the 40-20 moves to hit. I think that's the key thing here. The 50 to 100 are good confluences, but the trades that we want to actually play out are going to be the 40-20 because that's what's on our list for today, right? So next one is at 40, or sorry, 702. This thing is now coming down. It looks like it established a ceiling here. It's coming down. 704 is the net, or 702 and then 704. There's a lot of entries here though. So if you look at the list, so let's go over here to my spreadsheet. So there's a lot of entries today compared to, or I mean, every day's been kind of filled, but for the most part, in comparison to like earlier in the month or October, these are a lot of entries. So let me just count them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 entries for today. Yesterday, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's another three entries that are added to the list here just for Wednesday. So that's pretty good overall. So there goes the first entry for today from this list, from the actual list that I posted. It was a win for 2R at 647. Not a target entry, but still on the list there. It had a 60% weighted, 50% overall. So probability wasn't like amazing, but good to see. Yeah, Masij said, yeah, more entries. Market is establishing in winter season. We should expect an average of 11 per day according to the data during the winter. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah, we talked about this at the beginning of November, right? October was great because we had the data for the fall, right? Basically September up until October. So the data was really good during that time period. Now we're moving from November into December. So we're going from the fall season to the winter season. So you can see over here, we had a bit of a sort of dead period, right? If you look at yesterday's entries, a ton of no entries here. A ton of no entries here, pretty much for the whole month, really. There's a lot of no entries. Um, The last day we had a lot of entries come up was on November 12th. So this is the transition from October to November. Now we're going from the transition from November to December, and we're starting to get a lot more entries here as well. So I'm going to update these a little bit as we go. So this was a no entry. This was a win, 2R. Next one coming up is going to be right here at 702. So I'll just update the spreadsheet as we go, guys. It's just easier this way, so I don't have to do it at the end. But yeah, so far currently we're at 2R for the day. Yesterday we were at 1R, and today we are at 2R so far. A lot of trades to come up though. We have another 10 trades still kind of building up. Right. I was kind of hoping that 50 to 100 trade was going to play out, but it's okay. I don't really think I'll ever take those big moves anyways. The problem with taking the 50 to 100 moves are that like if you're taking the bare minimum contract, it's gonna eat into your drawdown a lot. Um, because going from a 20 point stop loss to a 50 point, that's more than a 2R doing a normal 40/20. I'd rather cut out at a 20 point loss than hold on for a full 50 points. Like what Masij mentioned, that's like super generous. Um, of course, when it hits, it's gonna be great because it's a 100 point move, but when it loses, that's also a big loss in a sense. If you're doing bare minimum, like if you're trading a cash account, prop accounts are different, right? Doesn't really matter too much on the prop accounts, but on a cash account, that's a $500 loss. It's a big loss to be eating every time, or to be risking it at least. I don't like. I'd rather stomach a $200 loss or even a $300 loss versus, or even $100 loss versus a 500 to 400, 600, etc. Let's see. Masij said I just got 50Ks for the first month on Apex, just taking everything on it. Nice. Okay, perfect. Yeah, I was a little tempted to do that as well. I mean, because it's from the data here, if it looks like if you took every single trade, I mean, you should be able to pass an Apex challenge. Like if you really want to pass the Apex challenge, I think if you just take every single trade, you'll be fine because you're not going to eat into as many expenses as you would on a live account. Um, like looking at November so far, this would be 9R for so far, and then I can even do the math here. Let's we don't have any entries coming up anytime soon, so let's just do the math real quick if you did every single trade. So 1 plus 8 plus minus 2 minus 2 plus 2 minus 1 plus 1 minus 4 plus 1 plus 2. Yeah, so I mean, it wouldn't be super great, but you can profit 6R for the most part. And you'd probably be doing a 3 contract, so 3 times 5 times um, 20 times 6. Yeah, still being profit. I mean, you probably would have passed the eval on this day where it was like a ton of entries, but it's still a 6R if you took every single trade. And it's good to just document. I think taking every single trade like you're doing, Masij, is going to help with the with taking your discretion out, right? I think that's the problem with me. It's really the discretion part of it. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. So only target entries. Yeah, if you do only target entries, it's even better. So I mean, let's see. Let's look at the target entries only. This is for the whole month. 6 plus 7 minus 1 plus 1 plus 2 minus 4 plus 5 minus 2 plus 3 plus 2 minus 1 plus 2 minus 3 minus 1. So it's a 16R if you took only target entries right here. That's pretty big, right? 16R, you think about it. So if you're doing what did I say earlier? Three, or if you do 5 contracts, 5 times 20 times 16, it's a profit of 8,000. You would have passed the eval for sure if you only took the target entries. Because you only need 3,000 to pass, right? So again, like I said, it's very doable. It's just, if you can stick to certain entries, I think the target entries would make the most sense because you're not going to be, I mean, you'd be taking way too many trades if you're taking every single one. Like imagine taking like 12 entries a day. You're going to pay so much in commissions if you do that. It's going to eat into your profits. Let's see, Barack's at 16R is uncommon. That's impressive. Yeah, I know it's uncommon for November, but October was actually even better. I think October was like closer to like a 30R, I think. It's really, really high. And this is all documented. So we have the data here. Like you can't refute the data here because the data here shows like the exact entries, and I have them all listed here. These are all the target entries. This is including losses and wins. And for every single trade, like we didn't avoid anything specific, right? We didn't avoid like the opening trade. We didn't avoid any 630 entries. Basically, it's every single target entry that came up for the month of November. So if you just take target entries, I mean, you should be perfectly fine. And there's not as many entries that come up, right? Like for example, today there's about four. I'd be okay taking four versus, a ton of entries that tend to come up. Like this is like 12 or 14 entries. It's a lot. And you want to be able to handle that drawdown, of course. All right, the 702 entry is coming up right now. It's going to be a sell. If you guys are looking to take that, it's going to be coming up pretty shortly. Like I said, I'm waiting for these. I'm waiting for like the ones down here for the most part. If you guys want to take this one, I think this one could be good. It's going to close in about a minute. I just, again, I'm still using my discretion here. I'm trying to take my discretion as far out as I can, but I can see over here that this is kind of like where price is currently ranging right now. So because of my discretion, I'm really not looking to get into this just yet. This is going to line up as an entry though. It has a 65% probability weighted, 55% overall, 41% buy, 75% sell. Um, so if you guys want to take this trade here, I also don't like the increased volatility on this candle right here. It was moving pretty smoothly, and then we started to get a flat out right here, and then price started to push up on this one candle. Again, I don't like the wicks. There's just a lot of different things here that I'm looking at personally. It's going to be hard for me to like really completely remove my discretion, but I feel more comfortable entering trades later on, closer to the lower part of 7 o'clock. So here goes the entry right here, guys. It's a short position. It's currently running. Like I said, I didn't like the momentum or volatility on this specific candle, so I decided to skip out on it. And sometimes my discretion is beneficial, sometimes it's not, right? Because sometimes I miss entries that I should probably get into, and then there's trades like this where I already kind of identified this was going to happen, and I avoided a narrow, a narrow loss right there. So it's a balancing act, right? Like understanding like how the market here is moving. There's a lot of things here telling me not to take a sell here. I think the main thing was like these wicks. See these wicks rejecting off this um, resistance turn support. I saw this already happen. The market started to slow down here. So the volume here died down. Price pushed up, volume died down, reversal, right? Price pushed down, volume died down, reversal. It's it's just it's just kind of a no-brainer for me in a sense, seeing this right here. So I didn't take that entry right there, which is good because that would have been a loss. But if you guys took it, it's completely fine. The losses are part of the game. It's just you just have to pick and choose your battles, right? For me, I already had a feeling that was going to be risky, so obviously decided not to jump into that one there. There's a 704 entry coming up right here. It's for a buy. There's no buy signal, or actually this is against momentum. So this is actually going to be an entry for a buy once this candle here closes. So if you guys want to take that one, I mean, feel free. The next target entry is going to be at 17. So as much as I want to remove my discretion from this, it's really hard for me to do that because I mean, this was an obvious skip for me, of course. Nice. Yeah. So Masich said that he took the long. He saw the momentum shifting. Yeah. I want to see the same thing too. So right here, again, guys, see how market is super choppy? Obviously, I wouldn't really want to mess with any entries right here. If you guys are looking to take entries, I mean, that's completely fine. But like I said, yeah, I've been trading for a while, so like I could kind of see how this is not a good time to be taking these trades. Down the middle right here, okay, great, because we have, momentum pushing a direction. But over here, not so much. Like I don't really want to enter trades when this is happening, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But again, if you guys want to take entries, I mean, feel free. Trade's currently running right there. This is for the 704. Not to say that this isn't going to work. I think this will probably work out because it looks like, looking at the price action here, rejection off the resistance, it's basically a break and retest. So if you look at this here, price broke structure, came back to retest it, push back up. It doesn't have to play out that way, but it's looking like it. So there's actually two entries running alongside each other. You have the 704 and you have the 705 right next to each other. They're both running to the upside right now. Let's see. So Masij said, Sean, are you okay with having a lot less entries? I'm looking at how I'm going to deep back test and already know the highest win rate strategy is going to be a high TP stop loss every 2, 3 days. There will be others, but these will most likely be an option during transition months like November, February. Yeah, no, I'm perfectly fine. I prefer to have less entries than more, Masij, because I don't want to eat up costs with regard to commissions and fees, right? So, if there's going to be some days where there's maybe like one or two entries that are targeted, that's completely fine. I don't mind it as long as they're good entries. I'd rather take less entries, and and a possibility of adding size to it or whatnot, versus having like 20 entries. Like for example, today we have a lot of entries, which I don't mind because a lot of these are going to be no entry anyways, right? There's going to be a lot of you're going to see a lot of no entries for the day, of course. So it doesn't really make a big difference for me. And I kind of hate seeing the no entries anyways, because it's kind of annoying seeing like, there's like 12 or 20 entries here, and then the whole day it's just no entry, no entry, no entry. I think those are the worst. But it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing that we're seeing that there's no entries because it's showing that the market's not really moving consistently. It's a bad thing because you're kind of anticipating something to come up and there's just nothing that comes up there. I'll check your message right now, Masish. Okay, perfect. I'm glad you got the wire. I was really worried when you mentioned that the wire didn't go through with your friend. So I had to double check everything. So I'm glad the wire went through. Masij has got the wire and we're ready to start running testing on the algo. Some pretty deep back testing. All right, so a win right here at 704, guys, and a win at 705. So wins back to back right there, guys. So like I said, the algo is doing what it's supposed to, right? We're having a ton of wins here. This is actually a really good day overall. It's looking like. So this one right here at 704 it hit, and then 705, it's actually still running right now. But it looks like that's going to hit as well. Next one's going to be at 715. So again, guys, list is right here. Entries as they come up, I'm putting them right here. The 705 is about to hit right there too. So I already put win right there because I already knew it was going to win. And there you go. Algo is on fire today. Like I said, these losses are going to happen. They just losses are part of the game. But if you follow the algo, it's pretty spot on. So there we go. We're currently at a 6R for the day, -1, so 5R for the day so far. Algo's on fire so far with a lot of these entries. There's a lot of entries today, so we'll see if they all come up. I'm gonna update the spreadsheet even further. All right, so let's see. And I'm getting sick. It's like it sucks. Right before I gotta head out for Thanksgiving, my I start to get sick. It's like I never get sick either. So it sucks because I gotta be on this long drive today. What's going on here? Okay, so when when all right, so if you guys want to follow the spreadsheet, I'm updating it as we go. Currently at 5R for the day with regard to I mean these are two entries that are right next to each other. Oops. All right, so next one's at 7:15 right here. So here's the spreadsheet, guys. I just updated it. We're currently at 5R for the day. We had a win at, so no entry at 6:32. 6:47 was a win. 7:02 was a loss. 7:04 was a win. 7:05 was a win. 7:15, 7:16. What I like to see here is that a lot of these algo entries, they're starting to line up back to back, right? I think that's a good sign. When you have these lining up back to back, it shows that the momentum is really stronger on these points. So 7:04, 7:05, back to back entry, 7:15, 7:16, 7:17, three back to back here. The problem with the 7:17 is that it's opposite though. So we have 7:15, 7:16. Looks like price is going to drop around that point for a sell, and then it swings right back up, maybe for a tracement at 7:17. Again, like I said, I don't really like these against entries, against momentum, because you're trading, you're kind of counter trend trading. Um, so the main ones that I'm looking at are really going to be the 632 and the 643. I'm gonna be looking to maybe get into. Let's see. Perfect. Yeah, I'm looking at your message right now, Masish. It looks good. Yeah, for the most part, it looks good. I think running that initial test will be, well, yeah, obviously pull the first set of data, and then running that first set's gonna be pretty cool to see what we got. I guess we're gonna be moving backwards, right? So you'll be pulling, I guess, a year's data, and then you'll just go deeper and deeper and deeper into the back test, I guess, as we go into the further months. So it's cool. I mean, yeah, the first initial test is gonna be cool because we'll be able to see what kind of data we can pull with what's recent. And then, or I'm not sure how you're doing it. I'm not sure if you're gonna be pulling data and then we're gonna go like in a timeline, or if we're going to pull all the data and then just run certain filters. Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense. All right, let me see. Barack said, like they say in music, less is more, just don't overplay. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Barack. Let's see. iPhone is asking, Sean, since we have some time, do you mind sharing what made you want to switch from a technical approach to a probability or quantitative approach? I mean, there's a lot of different reasons. The main reason is that I did a lot of deeper research into like how hedge funds operate, because obviously I'm not operating my own hedge fund now. Um, and there's no hedge fund that trades technicals. Like there's they use technicals as a confluence, but everything is quantitative. So once I started to realize that, and the thing is, a lot of people don't realize this because a lot of people who trade, they follow a lot of like, social media traders, like people who are on Instagram or people who are on YouTube. Everybody pushes technical analysis, which there's nothing wrong with, right? Technical analysis works, but only to some extent. Like unless you have the data behind it to show you that, there's actual quantitative data behind that specific strategy, then you're kind of trading blindly, right? Like I see a lot of people who trade like the really popular type of strategy right now is like the orb and fair value gaps, right? I see everybody doing that. The thing is, like, it works during a certain period, but then there's gonna be a time period where it doesn't work at all. Um, and the thing is, like, people don't have the quantitative data to really see that. They just see what's happening right now, and they're like, "Oh, this is a great strategy. Like, this is an amazing strategy." And then once they go into drawdown, they don't know how to react to it, and they blow their accounts, right? So the thing with hedge funds and just like institutional traders in general, everybody has a quantitative approach to it. Like, for example, we have the algo here. And then now that we have these probabilities, we can include technicals, right? So for example, like this entry over here at 732 or whatever, I have a probability of like 67%. This shows me that I have an edge. And then now on top of that, if I want to include the trend or if I want to include some other thing like, market structure, then I can add that on top of it without overfitting. The problem with like strictly technical traders is that they don't have these numbers. They just see a pattern. They're like, oh, this is going to happen because it's a double bottom, right? It doesn't always happen that way. If you have statistics that show you, okay, this double bottom at this specific point in time in this specific area is going to happen, then you can have probabilities. You can have the confidence that, okay, this is going to bounce. But what happens with a lot of people is they just want to take that risk, right? Which is okay. It's fine. Like I mentioned, technicals are fine, but they can only get you so far because it looks good in the moment. But if you look at majority of traders, a lot of people don't last in trading, right? They'll be good for like maybe a couple of days, a couple of weeks, maybe a month, maybe a couple months, but eventually they blow their accounts, right? And that's like the sad reality of trading. That's why not a lot of people last in trading very long because they don't have the numbers to kind of back it up for them. So like for me here, I chose the example, like I'm using the spreadsheet here to kind of show you guys that there's going to be losses and there's going to be wins. But if you take the trades that you're supposed to take and you have the probabilities behind you, you're going to end up in profit, right? Like we ended up, for me, I have a problem because I use my discretion, which I shouldn't be using. Like we have all the numbers here for the target entries. It's 16R for the month so far, right? If I would just stick to the strategy and not use my discretion, I'd be pretty nice in profit. The thing is, my discretion kind of cuts into play, and that's something that I have to overcome myself, right? Everybody has their own problems, their own issues with trading. Um, and if you look at my stats for the month, like I should have a lot more trades here, but I don't because my discretion is stopping me from jumping into positions. Not just my discretion, but also the slippage in the market, right? I think that's what threw me off. I think this day over here on November 3rd, this is what threw me off the most because we took this trade here, about 90% of people won and maybe like four or five people lost because of the slippage. So this already started my mess. It started to mess with my trade psychology because I was worried that I was going to have the same problem over the next couple of days, and we did, right? We had slippage on this day, we had slippage somewhere around here, we had slippage on this day. So like this whole month of November, I've been trading a little scared in a sense because I was worried that people were going to lose trades that shouldn't have lost the trade. So. Yeah, I mean that's the big jump between the big jump for me basically between technicals and quantitative quant trading is that if all these hedge funds who are making millions and millions and millions of dollars are not using technical analysis, there's a reason behind it, right? There's a reason why they're not trading strictly off technicals. So what I would say is, do some research. You could do it on YouTube. You could do it on anywhere, really. I think YouTube is a good resource because you can look up interviews with hedge fund traders or hedge fund analysts or stuff like that, and they'll all tell you that like technicals by itself, it's not a real edge. It's a I don't want to say it's a make-believe edge, but in a sense, it is an edge where like you're kind of blinded because you don't know exactly how the strategy works. Like for example, we used to apply the orb entry a lot, right? We did the orb entry for a while, and the orb entry was great until it stopped working. The thing is, if I had the quantitative data behind the orb entry, then I could have understood that okay, this strategy doesn't work during certain periods, or like there's different TP stop losses that I should use, or if I should use the ones that where it's a break and close versus a retest, right? If I had those numbers, then I'd feel more comfortable taking the orb. But like again over here, if you see the orb here, there's a ton of different ways to take it. Like for example, you could take the break and close, and yeah, great, it would hit. But if you waited for the break and retest, you know, trade might have worked, might have not worked. This probably would have lost. So it's just having the data behind it. Anyways, guys, this entry over here at 715, let's see if it came up. It was against momentum. So the 715 entry right here did hit full TP for a buy. The algo is pretty much, it's hitting, guys. Today's been a pretty good day for the algo overall. 716. There was a target entry at 717, but I wasn't really looking to get into that one. So let's see, 716. Oh no, actually I take that back. Sorry. This was a no entry because it was a sell. So 715 right here. This was a or no, I think it might have been a loss actually. 715. Sorry, I'm just confused right now. This was a actually this was a loss, looks like. The 716 was no entry. Yeah, 715, this was an entry for a sell because we had a buy signal right there. Didn't play out. 716 was also a sell against momentum. This was no entry. 717. This was a buy against. Okay, so this one actually is running right now. The 717 is currently still running at the moment. It looks like it's going to hit. I think this one's going to hit. So this is going to be a win, it looks like. 732. But you guys can see right here. See how this is like super, super choppy back and forth? It is it is it's not very consistent. This is where my discretion would kick in a lot because I would start to see how it's choppy and I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can trust the algo right now, even though I should trust it. It's just it's my background in technical trading that kind of throws me off. I kind of wish I went straight into algo or quantitative quant trading from the start because I would be able to trust the data more than, looking at these chart patterns. But it's okay. We're gonna, I gotta make my way through this and get used to, doing these algo type entries. Yeah, Rashida said until YM breaks 747, 299, she's not looking for any sells. That's a good way of seeing it right there. So Rashida is looking for price to break structure basically right here. Basically a break and retest below this point before she starts looking for any sells. The entry right here at 717 is about to hit full TP right there. It's almost there. I'll just put win right there. I already know it's gonna hit. It hasn't gone into drawdown very much, so I could pretty much anticipate it's going to hit. If you guys have seen the algo entries, if it doesn't go into drawdown, it typically is going to hit. It looks like it's having trouble getting past this like resistance point right here, but eventually, it breaks through it at some point. See, this is where my technical analysis background kind of screws me a little bit because it's hard for me to unsee this. Like I've been trading for so long that whenever I see like a resistance point like that, it kind of throws me off and it's like, okay, this is kind of tricky. But also, if you look at this from a technical aspect, you can see that this is probably gonna be a fake out type move, right? Probably blast right through, hit target, come back down. So yeah, I mean it's tough. I don't like this is why I can't really hate on technical traders because I'm still a technical trader myself. I'm transitioning to quant, but it's hard because I've been trading for so long that I still see the same thing that I've seen over the years, right? I see price at resistance. This tells me like, okay, maybe I shouldn't get into a position here, but I know from the data if it doesn't pull below here, it's likely to blast eventually it's going to blast right through it. See, this is why people get kind of screwed up with technical analysis. It's they see a resistance there and they're like, okay, there's no way price is going to push past it. And then as soon as they enter a sell, this is what happens a lot of times. You'll see people enter the sell right here, and then and they put their stop loss like right there, right? And then they have their target down here, and then what happens is price ends up going down a little bit, and then it shoots up and stops them out, right? I feel like that happens a lot of times. So, like I said, this is like the reality of technical trading. See how price is now pushing up? This is how I do think the sellers are going to get stopped out here because my target's still sitting up there. I'm expecting this to push up. This is how everybody trades, right? They see support resistance. They're like, okay, price guy has to come down from here. And they try to reach this lower point. Their stop loss is right at the level. And then they get stopped out and they get pissed off. They're like, man, I should have never taken that sell. I'd love to see this hit. So like seeing this hit right here is going to be a prime example of like why technical analysis is is flawed in a sense. Let's see the data over here for 717. You know, the thing with this is that it's good on both ends though. So the problem with this 717 entry is that it's good for both buy and sell. So I mean, realistically, this thing could probably win either way, but I do think it's going to hit right here for the 717. Like I said, you know, we have the data here. The data shows if it doesn't go into drawdown, it's going to hit, and I'm pretty sure that's going to hit right there. It's looking like it. Again, really close. And what happened to the thing over here? I thought I had this. So 717 was 715 was or 715 was for sell. Lost 1 hour. 716 is for for a sell as well. No entry. 1717 is a win for 2R. And there we go. Well, it's almost there. So like I said, right, this is I mean it's a few points away. It's almost there. It's really, really close. Next entry is at 32. It's about to hit target. I already put the win there before it happened. All right. Yeah, it's almost there. Let's see. Brock's asking Sean if the entry from the algo says with momentum with a high probability, but then price gets to a time and the momentum printed is against, would you say it's viable to alter the bias to the opposite considering the win rate? I mean, that choice would be up to you, right? It's I would say it's up to you if you want to again that you'd be going against the strategy, so you're kind of creating a whole different strategy of itself. So if you want to do that, I mean, feel free, but the strategy is meant to be applied as it's applied, right? So for the most part, I don't want to tell you to do that, but yeah, I do see people do that sometimes. You know, whether it be me, whether it be Masij, whether it be others. The thing is, like, in order to do something like that, you should have the data behind it. There should always be data behind behind your choice of entry, of course. So if I had the data behind that, the probability shows that, okay, if you flip it, it works a lot, or it works in a sense. It works more than it doesn't. Um, then yeah, but I don't have the data for that, so I can't say exactly. Because you're doing a completely different strategy, right? If you're to ignore momentum and you just go off the probabilities, that's a different type of strategy. If you're going off momentum and not off probabilities, that's a different type of strategy. For us here, we're using both momentum and the probability. So you don't want to overfit it. I think that's a problem that you run into a lot, Barack. I mean, I've known you for a long time, and we've kind of exchanged strategies. I've noticed that like, and it's not just you. This is how everybody is, right? You try to overfit your strategy to make it work for the time being, and what happens is you come up with a completely different strategy, and then you don't have like the data or the statistics behind it. You end up having to redo the data. So that's like another problem with traders in a sense is that a lot of people can't stick to one thing. They got to always add something different, new filter, a new indicator, a new tool, a new something. And you know, it just completely changes the strategy in a sense. All right, so the 732 entry is coming up shortly. Let's see, it's coming up pretty quick. This entry over here at 717 finally hit full TP right there. So 732 entry is coming up pretty soon right here. Got 2 minutes. Yeah, let's see. CJ said, I commend you for being honest about your trade psychology. Most people would hide it and make excuses, but you're not doing that. Just know that you create an awesome product. And if I can get over my analysis paralysis. You definitely can get over your discretion. Yeah, 100%. It's the key thing here. It's like you got to be real with yourself, guys. When you guys are trading, you have to understand that you're going to have weaknesses. Not everyone's going to be 100% trading, especially if you're adapting to a new style of trading. Um, so Darren said, chicken dad of the 17 entry. I knew that 17 entry was gonna look pretty good. I mean, it's been running back and forth for a while now, but it looked pretty good so far. Looking at this entry at 732, this could be a pretty good one too. It looks like it might be a break and retest of the structure, or it's trying to at least. So the 732 is actually going to be a sell. So there's probably going to be a no entry here at 732, guys. I just realized it's for a sell. So I think this is going to be a no entry for 732, unfortunately. Yeah, we would need to get a sell signal here right now in order for that to come up, but it's not looking like we're going to get that. All right, but the good thing here is that the 717 hit. So here we are at 732, guys. Unfortunately, no entry there. In order for us to have that entry, you can see over here 732. It's with momentum, has a 67% probability for weighted, 50% overall, 30% for buys, 85% for sells. It won two out of the four previous entries, and you're looking for a sell. Because you're looking for a sell right here, you need to have a sell momentum, right? Because it's with momentum. We don't have that. So 732 is going to be a no entry. 741 is next up to bat. Let's see, Masij says, Sean, I sent a message above about a new program I made today based on the algo entries. Let me scroll up real quick. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so Masij said, Sean, I'm also in the process creating a model for predicting key price levels. Since most days the algo has a lot of entries, if you take into account market open price, the algo based on these entries can predict certain key price levels the market will hit in the day. I can show you an example after, but it predicts what the market will look like even before the day. Okay, that's perfect. Yeah. Because if that's the case, then, we can look for bounces off those areas. Nice. Yeah. So Masij over here showed that, price would reach a certain point and the momentum would die out and then it would turn the other way. Nice. That's actually really smart because we can look for price to turn around those areas. Like if we have an against momentum at some point over here, we can take that sell to the downside with confidence. Yeah, no, I like that, Masij. Great work. Great work overall. Like all of us here kind of working together. This is great because it just improves our edge even better. If you guys have any ideas and you think, it can help, feel free to hop into the chat or even get in touch with me or Masij because, the more creative we can get with regard to improving our edge without overfitting is going to be super, super key. We can use that as a confluence, of course. Yeah, Masij said it looks exactly like the market today. Yeah, that'd be perfect, right? If we caught this right here, because then we could have caught this opposite move when it turned around at 647. All right, next entry is at 641, guys. We don't have it coming up yet, but it's going to be coming up pretty soon. We'll be dragging this out a little further to 8 o'clock. Yeah, let me talk to my tax accountant again. Masij, we'll see if we can bump it up. Maybe we can bump it up just to get it all good and going. Obviously, the sooner the better, of course, right? So I'll be in touch once I get some updates. I just got to move money around basically to kind of make that work. Let me scroll up real quick. I think I had a question here from Constantine. Let me see. Or someone. Let me just scroll down real quick. Yeah, Masif said it's just not practical to trade that many accounts for the hedge fund on a small TP stop loss. Deep back test will find a better, more personalized strategy for the hedge fund. Yeah, I agree with you. It's tough with it being very close. Um, yeah, Masif said it's make believe. No profitable trader over 10 years does not use data. Data is the only way to be in profit over time. And when we talk about data, guys, you don't have to have the exact data, right? To have this like 5 year, 10 year, whatever data. As long as you're able to document your trades, like for example, I've had a bunch of spreadsheets where I had all my trades listed for years and years and years, right? If you guys look at I think it's on the Discord. Yeah, if you guys look at my trade journal here, like I'm not new to documenting my trades, right? We've documented my trades for for years here. You guys can see these are all my trades from 2024. So like I've always been documenting my trades to kind of build off it. And as long as you have that data to show that you have some sort of edge in the market, it'll help, right? You don't have to go deep and turn in develop algos and stuff like that. You can just go deep enough to like doing a hand documented spreadsheet of like your statistics for like a year for one strategy or even 2 years or 3 years. It's going to take a long time to put together, but once you have that data, you can trust it and you can take trades like that more consistently. So just something to keep in mind. Let's see, Samson market already pumped so much, unstoppable or what? Uh, I mean, it looks like the price here is still trying to pump up some more. It's in this big range. So the big range is actually right here. And then we have the smaller ranges in between. Yeah, Barack said the struggle to learn and unlearn is real. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. Constantine's asking, check 619 is supposed to be a target entry. Let's see. Or 719 actually. Like with against. You're right. Thanks, Constantine, for the heads up. I think I overlooked. I put the wrong number on that one. Or no, actually, yeah, I did put the wrong number. So I'm looking at the numbers right now, and it looks like I mean either way, it'd be a no entry, but you guys can see it from the weighted average. I put the wrong number and I just put the same number from 15 because I was like, there's so many entries that happened back to back right there that it ended up mistyping the weighted. That's why it shows up exactly the same here, but the number is 60 over 65. Thanks, Constantine, for the heads up on that one. Yeah, it's a bonehead move by myself. Missed out on that one there. It's okay. It's a no entry to begin with. Let's see. Mendez said so 732. Yeah, if the 732 came up, I would have went for the 2040. I mean, I would have used the 50 to 100 as a confluence Mendez. So like for example, I would go in for the 4020, but then if I wanted to go for the full 100, I would have just extended my target up higher and I would just trail the position basically. So most of the time, usually when I do this or when I'm going for the bigger targets, I usually go in with a smaller, so I have a smaller stop loss, and I'll just adjust my target a little bit higher, so I can go from like a 1 to 2 to like a 1 to 4 to 1 to 5, etc. Let me refresh this. I think there's something wrong with my trading view. Every time I hit this back button, I like delete something that I have on the chart, which is kind of annoying. Okay, here we go. So we're back here. So this entry at 741 is about to come up, guys. It's going to be a buy entry. It has a 61% weighted average, 60% overall, 62% buy, 58% sell. It won two out of the previous four entries, and we're looking for a buy there, of course. We have a buy momentum here currently active, so if it does come up right here at 741, it's going to be an entry for a buy. Just a heads up for those of you looking to take it. Darren's a double bottom wick exactly at the point of VWAP before gapping up. Nice, yeah. Yeah, the VWAP kind of lines up with the pivots here sometimes. So like it did exactly that, which you mentioned. Or like I mean this right here off my structure. So it played out pretty nice. So here's the problem, guys. If you guys are looking to take the buy here, I don't want to scare you guys, but just looking at the technicals, it looks like a double top. But again, if you want to take your discretion out of it and just take the algo entry as is, it's not a target entry. So just keep that in mind. It's not a great, I wouldn't consider it a great entry. It's an entry nonetheless, but it's not a great entry. I think this 743 could be a good one though, because that's going to line up with the technicals here, right? So again, we're using the technicals here as a confluence. The 743 double top, rejection, sell signal, push to the downside. Yeah, Masih said yes. You just need to be able to document and justify why you take trades based on the past data. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. So the thing is, the past data is not going to give you any guarantees, but it's going to give you confidence in understanding that, a certain pattern or a certain entry is going to align or continue in that direction. So right here, guys, there's an entry for a buy at 741. If you guys want to take it, feel free. Again, if you want to just take it based off the algo, you're more than welcome to do that. Like I said, there's a possible double top here, so it's a little tricky when it comes down to incorporating technical analysis with your entry. Again, there's no problem with using technical analysis. I just like to use it as a confluence. So for example, here, the 741, see, I would have seen this right here, double top. This would have just told me maybe not to take an entry at that point because it's just tricky in a sense because of like where it's currently at. The thing is, we don't have a sell signal here, right? We need that sell signal in order for us to have this 743 entry, right? Because the 741 and 742 are for buys, but for 743, in order for us to have that, we need to have a sell signal come up right now. If it doesn't come up on this candle, there's going to be no entry for the 743. 742, 743. All right, so 741 is currently running. It's not looking so hot. Like I mentioned, it's just not looking too great. The 743 is not going to be an entry, guys. Unfortunately, it's going to be a no entry because there's no sell signal there. So let me start updating the spreadsheet a little further. 715 was a loss. 716 was no entry. 717 was a win, no entry. The 741 and 742 are still running, guys. There's no entry for 743 again because there's no sell signal. It was with momentum. It had a 78% probability weighted, 70 for overall, 58 for buys, 87 for sells. It won every entry for the past 4 weeks, but it was for a sell here. Because we had no sell signal there, there's no entry for the 743. Again, these two entries right here, 741, 742 are still running. The 741 was a loss right there. And 742 looks like it's going to be a loss as well. Okay, so I have the data here. Today was still a winning day overall with regard to overall, like pretty much all the entries. But for the target entries, unfortunately, a lot of no entries again. It was just one of those days where there just wasn't any entries for us. This is a typical thing that we ran into for November. I was actually a little excited to take these trades here, but there was just nothing for 732 and nothing for 743. Um, the 717 was a win. So overall, today's a winning day for both target entries and for every entry in general. I'm going to show you guys a spreadsheet real quick. So again, here's the hard data, right? The hard data that can't be refuted. You can't refute this data because this data shows exactly the entries that came up. So for today so far, if you took, or not so far, today at the end of today's session, if you took every single trade that came up today, it's a 6-hour day. right? There was a win at 647, there was a loss at 702, a win at 704, a win at 705, a loss at 715, and a win at 717. Everything else was no entry over here. Actually, no, I take that back. Sorry. Let me refresh this real quick. There's two losses. It's a 4-hour day. Still good. Still good overall. Okay, so I'm done with that right there. So overall today was a 4-hour day with regard to every single trade taken. If you took only the target entries, 702 was a loss, 717 was a win, 732, 743, both no entries, unfortunately. So looking at this week so far, I mean, this is the week. It's a holiday week, of course, so it's a little slower than usual. But these are the stats for the day. I was a little tempted to get into the 717, but again, like we talked about earlier, I don't really like taking those against entries. However, that against entry looked like it was pretty good because it bounced off. If you use a confluence here, have as a double bottom, this could have been a good entry for a buy. The problem with this entry, though, is it would have been a double top right here as well. So, other than that, let's see. Rev is asking, "Hey Sean, are you trading on Friday?" Probably not. I'll let you guys know tomorrow, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to trade on Friday. I don't think I've ever traded on Black Friday. We always take Black Friday off because the volatility is just always pretty dead for the most part. So, we usually take Thanksgiving as a long weekend because the thing is, a lot of people don't come back to the market until the week after. So, just for now, I'm going to say I'm not trading. If I do trade, I'll let you guys know. Maybe Masij can help me with that. Masij, if you're going to be around, if you can post the trades for Friday, because I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. Um, yeah, if you can post it under the algo list, that'd be great. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, okay, perfect. That'd be great. So Masij is going to share the trades for Friday, but guys, just a heads up, probably 99% of me is probably not going to trade on Friday because I don't trade on Black Friday. We've traded Black Friday in the past and it's never been good. Market's typically just dead and we don't even it's just not worth trading because the volatility is so flat and there's just no point. Market's going to be choppy throughout the entire day. Let's see, trade from CJ. So CJ took a sell at 740 based on the 10-minute. Yeah, so CJ hopped in right there at 740. Let me take a look at 740 real quick. CJ got in right here at 740 at this top period, at this top. So I could see exactly what CJ saw here too. So he took the sell right here at 740. And the reason why I would have said that was a good. So just look at these candles right here. Right? We've been talking about this. You guys can see how momentum pushed up and then it started to die out right here. Right. One thing that you guys can look at, and I've kind of discussed this over the past couple of weeks, is if these candles are touching each other, the bodies, right? Not the candles in general, but just the bodies. See how these bodies are all kind of within each other? When you start to see like more than three bodies that are touching that are right next to each other, this starts to say that momentum here is starting to die down. And then it was also at this resistance point. And then on top of that, we had some algo entries that were starting to shift to the downside, right? So with that being the case here, you kind of put two and two together. I'm assuming this is kind of what CJ saw as well. I mean, he saw it on the higher time frame, but I can see it over here on the lower time frame that the momentum here is dying out. If you go on the 10-minute, or let me go on a different chart. It's easier to see over here. So looking right here on the 10-minute, this is what CJ saw. It's like a double top. I mean, the double top you can see on the 1 minute as well. But basically, it's like a V1 variation in a sense, right? Double body, double wick, etc. And then looking over here on the 1 minute, you can see that it was double top from this point too. Structure. So again, like I said, the technicals aren't a bad thing. It's just you should have some sort of quantitative data behind it before you start looking for certain entries. I've done quantitative data on double tops and double bottoms. Those are probably like the highest probability type trades. It's just you have to know exactly which levels to trade on. If you're doing basic technical analysis, that's actually one of the top strategies with regard to probabilities. It's double top and triple top. like just keeping it super, super simple. A lot of people try not, they don't like to keep things simple, but that's something that's been proven over the past 100 years, basically. Double tops and triple tops and double bottoms and triple bottoms, they've been around for hundreds and hundreds of years. They're like one of the very first strategies that were ever, conceived. So something that you guys can probably look at. Yeah, CJ said I didn't even look at the candles for that entry though. The algo predicted it hours ago, just entered. Yeah, so if you guys pull the data on the higher time frames, like what CJ did, you can also, align them together. That's kind of what I was doing right here too. I was trying to align the 1 minute with the or the 40/20s with the 50 to 100s. Unfortunately, these are the two entries I was looking for, right? The 32 and the 43, because I saw them right here as well. 32 and 43, but they just didn't come up. So it's all good. Yeah, CJ said that's why I trust the algo so much. It already implements all of the K2 strategies and tells me what I need to know. It's just up to me on how I use that info. Yeah, exactly. So the thing with this here, guys, is that the algo is not necessary. You don't have to trade it the way I'm using, right? You can use these statistics to take other entries. Like for example, if you want to take a pivot scalp, or if you want to take some market flow V2s, right? These are perfect right here, right? CJ, these are your bread and butter right there. Pivot scalp right there, that buy signal or yeah, pivot continuation, whatever you want to call it. And then over here, some market flow V2s. And then on top of that, you have MPS V2s as well, right? Right here at 730. So you got MPS V2s, pivot scalps, snipe entries, you name it, right? You can name all the strategies that I've taught over the years. The algo over here just improves it even better. Right. Like I said, you can use the algo to identify the probabilities and then use my old strategies like the pivot scalp, the momentum scalp, the breakout, the snipe entry, any of those strategies that I've used in the past, market flow V2, MPS V2. You can use those as your confluence. So just use the numbers here to identify the direction and then use my older technical analysis strategies to take your entries. Right. I think that's a key thing to take into consideration. Yeah, CJ said I killed with MP Mark Flow V2 on my other accounts, and the algo literally tells me when the reversals are going to happen. Yeah, exactly. So if you can look at the algo here and look at the data where it says with or against, you can start to see, your entries start to play through. Like for example, let me see the 705. So 705 over here, right? This was with momentum or against momentum actually. This showed that a reversal was going to happen right here. So what you could have done here at 705 or around this point is you could have looked for a bottom pivot, a bottom wick rejection. So look at this, how price was coming down. And then at 705, we were identifying a reversal, right? Because these are all against. What you could have looked for here, and this is probably what CJ looked at as well, is you could look for a market flow to the upside. So price came below, it crossed above, rejection right here off the pivot, and you could have rode this up, which aligned directly with the algo entry right here. All right, Masish. Masish said heading out. If you get, yeah, I'll be in touch with you. Probably over the weekend. I'll be traveling over the next couple of days, Masish. So I'll try to be in contact with you as much as possible. And I think my tax accountant might not be able to respond, if not today, by tomorrow. So I'll try to get in touch with you, and we'll probably speed up the process a little more so we can get the data sets going. But all right, guys, if you guys have any more questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Again, guys, happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for all you guys here. Hopefully, you guys are going to take some time off from trading. If you guys want to go back and do some more testing, feel free. But I think this is a good time to kind of just disconnect for a little bit, right? Disconnect, have a long weekend. You have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come back on Monday fresh, and then we'll be back hitting the markets until Christmas. So. All right, guys. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. I will be traveling, so I'll try to get in touch and respond to you guys as soon as possible. But if I don't get in touch with you guys, expect a response over the next couple of days. But all right, guys, happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys back here